you?
I'm fine. I feel badly that I wasn't here when you called. How are you, darling?
I'm doing well. I figured maybe you had the guitar player. When I was a little kid and just imagined, everybody forever living happily under one roof, one big happy family. Well, I do feel somewhat of a responsibility to help with my mom. It's more just helping make sure that she's okay. And my mom is older and in a assisted living facility, and she doesn't remember a lot, and she looks forward to my phone call every day ever since my dad passed away. I call her every afternoon to keep in touch. I'm thinking I was around 10 or so, but I'm not positive.
I am just flabbergasted.
Yeah. And I realized with my dad's passing, which was very sudden, no one was expecting it, just how quickly things can be gone. And a lot of times I know instantly when I pick up the phone, is it a good day? Is it a bad day? How do I want to kind of direct what we talk about? My dad is not there every day like he used to be. And so I do call her every day, and she can, she knows that call's coming. She knows she can depend on that, and we can talk, and, she can tell me about photo albums she's been looking through. I came along a lot later, and my parents were older when they had me, and I feel like I missed out on a lot of the, younger times. Nowadays, many people have kids when they're older, but I think it was a generational thing, just with the time that they grew up and the way they grew up, and then I came along later, and it was a clash of generations, kind of. I have two older brothers who were much older than I am, and they grew up before I was born, and I get to learn about them through going through old memories and keepsakes that my mom kept around. And, she kept things that reminded her of my brothers growing up and their past. And I get to kind of discover their past and some of my family history through looking through those things. And therefore, I keep things that my kids will someday be looking through and telling their kids about. My dad dressed in drag at a fraternity show. Rachel Steele, alias Christine. And it's just, it's continuity, and it ties us all together and makes us feel more connected and know where we're from, and this is the only family we'll have, and, keep us all together and connected. I like that continuity. I like, I remember what they did, and I had a happy childhood and a good childhood and a good life, and I want that for my kids, and, transfer the same sorts of experiences. Looking through things that are saved, I learn a little bit about people that I maybe didn't know. I see, pictures that my mom took that she thought were important. My mom used to keep a lot of my old camp letters, and some of them are hysterical to read. But I would write home to them, and that was important. In retrospect, I feel bad about it because I might have been having a lot of fun at camp and would say how much fun I was having, and then the next day maybe I'd had like a bad 30 minutes or something, and I'd write home about how awful everything was, or how, I just miss you so much. And dear Mom and Dad, Monday I got up at 4 p.m. and never got back to sleep with a terrible earache. I cried for an hour. See ya. Love, Carol. But then an hour later I would be fine, but yet the letter had been sent, and now as a parent I can imagine my mom getting this letter from, your child saying, I'm so sad, or I miss you, or whatever. And I think that had to be hard. But at the time, you're a kid. You write what's in the moment and you send it. It's been interesting trying to stay in touch with people this day and age with, the advent of all the modern technology. You have the internet, you have cell phones, you have, all those easy ways to keep in touch. And yet a lot of the people I'm wanting to keep in touch with are older. I get to keep in touch with all of the younger people through Facebook. And that's a lot of fun because I feel like I get to watch my nieces and nephew as they have their own families, and watch my nieces raise their own children, and see my great nieces and great nephews. I would love to have a very close family and be doing stuff with them all the time, but it's not realistic. Everyone has their own families. Everything's kind of changed, and since it has changed, I think that it was always important to me, but it was easy to take it for granted because it was always there. And now I see that it's maybe not, it's there, but it's harder to grasp onto. I do wish it was easier to get up there, but at the same time, I don't know that I would have the appreciation for the times like weddings and Steele Family Christmas that I do have, because I really treasure those moments, because that's when everyone is together. And they're few and far between, but that makes them all the more special. I think I did, base a lot of my parenting on my own experiences from growing up. I was determined to have children at a younger age so that I could do more with them and be more involved with them. I wanted them to know their grandparents. I wanted to have children close together in age so that there wasn't a 16 or 17 year age gap, so they could grow up together. I want to keep the family continuity, keep traditions, keep everyone, aware of their history and their family history. I feel like I'm losing the idyllic image I had from my childhood, but I'm gaining a lot more. I'm getting new relationships with my kids and things are expanding. It's growing and changing, and the change makes me want to make sure I keep all of that in my head. I think as you get older, you become more aware of wanting to preserve that. Seeing the impermanence of life and seeing how people do grow and change and everything changes, that more than anything has made me realize wanting to grasp on to those connections and not let them go, and keep the memories alive and keep the traditions alive. And I think it's more important to me keeping everything together and everyone connected, since my kids are getting older and I'm getting older. Every family has their own history, and it's unique to those people living it, and nobody else can pass that along. And no one else can pass along to my children my experiences from growing up and the lessons I've learned and the relationships I've had with my family. I'm not in the same city. I'm not up there as often. When I